You're halfway there. Day 4. Welcome, welcome. I will, as usual, not go on and on talking. Let's start the course. Music is an important part of creating videos, and I would say that when you're editing, it's really important to lay your music and cut to the beat or cut off to the beat. There are many options of free music on YouTube, and there are many options of buying music as well. But if you don't want to buy the music, I'm going to teach you a really cool way of composing music for your tracks. I don't share this with many people, but this is exclusively for you. So I'm opening GarageBand. Okay, a track that I've already composed is popping up. So this is a track that I already used. I'm going to open a new track. When I open a new track, it tells me, do I want an empty project, a keyboard collection, an amp collection, voice, ringtone, hip-hop, electronic, songwriter. Right now I'm just choosing keyboard collection. I'm just going to put a classic electric piano. The reason I'm only putting one of this is that I'm not even going to use this. I'm going to be using something called loop. So if you go into the corner of your screen, there's a small button called the loop. It looks like a loop. So this is your gold. So here, like if you can hear, of course you can play the piano also. We're not doing that right now, so let's close that. So these tracks are free. Okay, so I'm going to drag this because I like this. I'm going to drag this. It's a abstract rhythm beat, and I'm going to drag it to the point which I want it. Now up here there's it gives you the time signature, and it's in C major chord. If you're into music, I guess that makes sense, but I normally put this into beats and time, so it tells me the time that I'm making this track. So now I generally want to make a 1 minute video, so 1 minute track, so 56, 59, 1 minute. Okay, this is exactly 1 minute. Okay, I'm moving the end point here. Okay, so now I've got a 1 minute bass track of spacebar. So normally I just dragged and dropped the music track into this. This is like a little timeline, a music timeline, and again I'm using this cursor to move in front, and space bar to play. And if you want to cut it in the middle, which we're not going to do today, Control T for cutting it, but right now we're not going to be doing that, so I'm Control Z-ing. Okay, so here is your bass track. Now if this is enough for you, then you just have to go and say share, export to disk, choose the location that you want. Again, I will always say you should choose the location like how I taught you, like go to location. So you can do that, but we're not going to do that right now. We're going to add another track. So basically, so now what's nice is that they give you an option of genre, so you can put rock, blues, or you can have instruments, so you can have, so this is nice. I add the track at the place that I want to begin, so I kind of give a little breather and then I add the music. So here, see. Okay, so you've got like a nice simple track. It's not so fancy, but let's go back here, and if I want some drums, this is just something random I searched, but I don't think it'll match because instinctively I feel like it's not going to, but let me just check it out. So now it's not really going very well, so I'm deleting that, and maybe this will be nice. So I'm dragging this. So it's just instinctively what music you'd like to kind of experiment on. So how it just eased in to the track that you wanted. Okay, now if I want to get like, if I want to do more, like if I want to put vocals, they have a whole collection of vocals. If you want to go fancy, then but see, now like a warp track may sound better in the beginning, so let's see how that sounds. So everything is really trial and error. You keep experimenting with the sounds that you'd like. See, this sounds cooler, right? So now I don't like this part, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut this section. So I'm doing Command T, and I'm just chopping that because I don't want that to hang out, the second part. Okay, now I want to do more. So I want to do like, what is this, summer? This seems cool. This is very like, you can do it kind of a song. So now that is a loop. So now if I stretch this out, Miss Carla will say get up throughout the song. And she even gives a crescendo. Okay, now I don't want Carla to sing too much, so, but I also like her voice, so maybe I just want her voice to be in the song. So I just highlighted what I wanted to delete, and I Control T'd it, and I deleted this. Now I like just a break, so let's see how that sounds. Okay. So it just gave my song a little variation, and this has not even taken me like so many minutes to do. Okay, now here's the key. The markers in the beginning of this track, that's where you started from. Otherwise it may be out of sync. Of course you can play around with that and get your own original composition. So I'm going to try this. If it sounds good, I'll keep it. If it doesn't sound good, I'll erase it. See, now that the double loop doesn't sound good. It sounds only good for the single time that I'm using it. Okay. Now if I want to add Christy, I do Command C and I post her here, and then I post her again here. So it's just how you play with this music. Okay. So basically now let's delete Christy and make it a little simple. Now we've got vocals in, we've got piano. And then we've got, if you want to have mallets. I don't know how this will sound, but let's experiment. And now what happens if I'm like, the rhythm is like annoying right now, so I'll just remove the rhythm. And the piano is also not sounding that great at this moment, so I'm just going to delete the piano also. So now the whole song changes with just... So now I want to experiment a little more by cutting this part. Okay, let's see. I'll put a little more get up. So now so by just moving the tracks up and down, I've got a completely different track and I've got a completely different sound. So loops can be a composer's best friend. When you want to go a little more advanced in terms of music composition, you can connect a keyboard or a MIDI player into GarageBand and play with that. I haven't really mastered that yet, but generally speaking, I'm still learning so much with the loops. So this is now your 1 minute track. So normally what happens is in the end, I'd want to end it with like a nice... I have a very different type of ending that I always like. So we'll end it in... Let's try and end it like this. Okay, now that seems a little abrupt, so I will cut this part also. Okay, now I want to end in that without the last note coming. Okay, so let's see how this sounds. It's still not... Maybe this. Okay, that's my ending. So now that's become 58 seconds, which is also okay. I move the end mark here. That's my track. I go to share. I export the song to disk. And I export it to the location that I want. So it's basically, let me find masterclass. Where is masterclass? Masterclass is not here. Masterclass is in Lightning. So we'll go to, hello masterclass, where are you? Okay, remember when I talked about where? So you export it straight into your, if you want AAC, MP3, AIFF, WAV. So these are very high qualities. This is for like iTunes. This is a basic MP3. Again, this is like uncompressed 16-bit CD quality, WAV. I generally do MP3 because I'm not really, I'm okay. Like I don't want such a high thing. You label it. Track, okay. And you export it. So now that's exporting. Okay. And it's done. So you save it, because you want to keep your masterpiece, and I'm going to call it, so these are all my tracks that I've composed. Track, okay. That's what we're calling it. So now Command Q to exit from GarageBand and go to our edit. So for example, we're editing on music, right? Mastering music. So this is the edit. You won't see all this, but I'm just now you go to import media. You find your main master class file. Go to music, and our track has appeared, and you import it into this. Okay, it comes into your library of your footage and stuff. You just drag and drop this here. Let's see if it goes. Finally, you finished your edit and ready to upload. Generally speaking, uploading it onto YouTube or any other social media site, the best quality you could get, of course, is 8K, 4K. Okay, music is not in this one, I think. Music is in, where's music? I think I put music in editing. Did I? Yes. Music is an important creating videos. And, okay, so then I drag this file down here, and I share this with many people, but this is exclusively for you. The track has been added and it sounds good. And now all that's left is adding visuals. So that was a secret peek at my music style. No matter which software you do, essentially editing is the same. You cut, you put together, you cut it to the music, you add your transitions, you export and you upload. So let's take a look at a live edit. I'm going to go to my computer and I'm going to show you how an edit is done from start to finish. So you've shot and you finish shooting, and it's time to take out your memory card if you've used the DSLR. Now you get the memory card and you put it in your computer. Then it pops up. Now a very important part before you begin even editing is organizing your footage, which means that if this is where my footage is in my memory card, whether it's on your phone, whether it's on your memory card, so you have to put everything in one place. So now just for this exercise I'm making a new folder on the desktop, but otherwise what I would do is I would open a hard drive and open a folder here. So you could see that the masterclass project is here, my trip to Medpoli project is already there, or other projects that I work on are here. So generally speaking, what you do is you open a new project and you name it. So today I'm going to be editing my Medpoli trip. Okay, so I'll name it trip to Medpoli, right? That's the name of my file. Whatever is your name, you name it that. You open it and it'll be empty. Now you divide this in two folders. One will be called Live Works. Now as the name suggests, Live Works is all the work that you're doing live on the edit will be saved here. So Live Works will be one file. That will have your music file, that would have your graphics if you'd like to use any graphics file, that would have your project, that would have your export. Now these are, right now it may not make any sense, but as I continue editing it will make sense when I'm saving it, accessing folders. The important part is when you work on a project, all your footage, all your music files, all your graphics, all your works have to be in one folder, in one place all the time, because the moment you move it, you risk a file getting corrupted or things going offline, and then relinking it becomes a big problem. So my advice always would be to make a folder with your work. Now here in your folder next to the Live Works thing, you make raw. So now raw would be your footage. So like for example, if you've shot on the phone, all your footage on your phone will come in this folder. If you shot on the DSLR, that will come here. So now I've shot some DSLR footage, which I just put in. So I'm going to just transfer that footage. Now normally computers do a great job doing drag and drop. So you just drag and drop into the folder of your choice. So now I've dragged and dropped DSLR footage into the DSLR folder. Now phone footage, I'll have to connect my phone and again to the computer and transfer the footage onto the computer, and then again simply drag and drop. Now LiveWorks again has export, graphics, music, project. Now if you want sound effects, then that's also there, sound effects. Normally if you want to do any whoosh or boom or tung, that will come in this folder. So this is just to generally keep your stuff organized, and then you have one place. Now like I said, I've saved this on the desktop here, as you can see it's here. Okay, now what happens is, like, I made another folder with the same thing, name of your project, LiveWorks. Here I've made other aspects. You have animation, so in case you get more advanced and you create animations, a title sequence in After Effects, that would be the place where you put that file. Then exports, so whenever you finish a file you will export into this region, and then graphics go here, music goes here, project goes here, and SFX goes here. Now let me show you what I mean. Now I've transferred everything. I'm going to delete this because I've already made a project in. Now generally speaking, the advice is to keep your desktop as empty as possible. Don't crowd it, because the desktop needs to kind of work fast. So I would always recommend work on a hard drive, which is a fast hard drive, like maybe a lightning hard drive or a firewire hard drive, so it's faster to work on. So now I've already made a trip to Medpally folder with LiveWorks, and here I've put export. I haven't exported anything. Project, I've already made a project here, and music here. So now what happens is, because, and the raw, which is I only shot on the iPhone, so all my footage has already been put here. So now I'm gonna, since all my work is here, I'm not going to do any fancy title work, graphic work. I just want a simple project with music. Now I have not chosen my music yet, so I have to choose the music. But let's click on this. Let's open the file. Now you should get a blank screen like this with nothing, no timeline, no window, nothing. It should be blank. That's when you go up to File on top, next to the name of your software. Now this can change to Premiere Pro, this can change to Filmora, this can change to Sony Vegas, this can change to Avid. Whatever software you're using, this process will not change. You go to File and you open New. Now in most cases you have Project, Event, Library, as you can see. So you open the file and you say New, and then you choose the location of which you would like to save your project. Okay, if you'd like to it in your whichever hard drive you'd like to choose in. If you want to choose it on the desktop, you can choose it on your desktop as well. You go to File, you go to New, and you go to Library. Now if you don't have any generic place you want to save it, it will just give you a simple window like this, the name and the location. That's a simple step. However, what to keep your stuff organized, I would say click on this button, or there would be a more, and scroll down to the folder that you've made. So I made a folder called Trip to Medpally. Okay, click on that and go to LiveWorks project. Now you would have already made this project, so you say save. So you name the file test, because I'm naming it test. Save it. Okay, so now from here you can see the name of the file is test. Okay, it's not showing me anything else. It's showing me a prompt to import media, and it's showing me new project. Okay, right now I'm just going to go back. I'm going to minimize this, and I'm going to go back to the origin of my file, which was Trip to Medpally. I'm just going to show you how it works. You click on LiveWorks and project, and now you can see that there is not only there, my file has now been saved on test. Okay, so I'm closing that. Now test. Now it will say import media. Okay, So you import media. Now again, coming back to where you imported from, you go back to your folder. Always go back to your folder. Click on that. Now if you want footage, you go to raw. So you click on raw and you click on the iPhone footage, and you highlight everything that you want. You can pick and choose what you don't want. Like right now, okay, I'll just put, I'd like to shoot this sequence. Okay, so this is a bird flying, so I'm going to just choose this file, and here just check this, add to existing event, correct, files, copy to library, yes, or leave them in place. That's up to you whether you want to copy to the library or leave it in place. Okay, all this you don't need to worry about right now. This is a more advanced look of what you would like. You just import the file that's there and it's imported. Okay, now what we've done is we've made the library, we've imported one file, but we still don't have a timeline. Okay, timeline will come in project. So you click on project and it prompts you project name. So I would say name it like whatever your library is called, name the library that test. Okay, now here again you will be prompted where you'd like to save it, and if you'd like to use custom settings or you'd like to use your own settings. So click on that and it'll give you a prompt of, do I want to use 1080p, which is a very good resolution, or do I want to use 24 frames per second, or do I want to use 4K, or do I want to use 720p. So it depends on what you've recorded it, but safety wise it's always wise to use 1080p, and if you want a more cinematic look, it's 24 frames per second. Okay, all this rendering and all you don't need to worry about, because normally they use the highest settings, so the most easy settings. So you say okay. Now as you can see, I've got what looks like an empty timeline. All right, here is the name of my library and project. Okay, this is where the footage is, this is the window that will be playing the timeline, and this is the timeline. Okay, here is the inspector window where I will find details of my clips. Here are the effects. So for example, if I want to do transitions or color corrections, now I'm going to shut that because I don't need that right now, and we're going to focus on the timeline now. So now how it works in every software is you click on the clip and you drag and drop it onto your timeline. Now you can drag and drop the whole clip, or you can I and O, select in is I, select out is O, and you can drag that small part into your clip. So it depends on what you'd like. If you'd like to choose, normally what happens is you don't want the whole clip there. This is a small clip, so I was okay to drag the whole clip down. But generally speaking, it's what happens is you can mark in and mark out by pressing I and O. Now again, this does not change in any other software. This is the same in every software. I and O are principles of editing in every software. Now as you can see, there's some lines here. That actually means that the file is rendering. So that's processing the file while it's being imported into the timeline. So now this is the cursor. So how you have the mouse pointer in other apps, this is the point where you would move your cursor to the point that you would want to begin your clip. So if you begin here and press space bar, which is for play and stop, it's playing. Okay, now you can't see this clearly, so let me see fit in screen. Okay, now one thing that I do want to tell you is I shot this on my cell phone and I shot this on portrait mode. Portrait mode is not ideally great for editing because it's cropped the whole scene. It's left this black and it's left this black as well. So let's import a non-cropped version like this auto write. Okay, so we're importing this. So I'd like to take it from I've highlighted what I'd like, and I've dragged it. Now you drag this clip wherever you'd like. So if you'd like it before this clip, you drag it before the clip. If you drag it after the clip, you drag it after. If you want it in the middle, you can drag it in the middle. Okay. Play for stop, play for to stop and play, it's spacebar. Now this clip is very small, so I'm going to delete it. I'm going to put the whole clip. So I to the beginning, O to the end, drag and drop. So now this is the whole clip. Now it's not very long, it's just 1 second to 3 seconds. This is just a 3 second. Now my rule generally was to give 5 seconds because your eye only registers in 5 seconds. I've already broken that rule by only shooting 3 seconds. But sometimes 3 seconds is also enough. So what happens is know all the rules in terms of editing and camera, and then you can find a way to break them as well. But it's important to know the rules, so when you are breaking them, you're breaking them in the context of understanding what the rules were. So here we go. This is the clip. Okay, I'm playing. Okay, now what happens is if I don't want the noise, I don't want this noise coming. So I click on the clip and I right click, and it'll give me a list of options. So reveal in browser is if I want to look at where the clip is, and all these other things. My favorite is detach audio. So there's a button that just detaches audio. I can click on the, so this was the video file, and then it divides the video file and the audio file into two sections. Okay, now if you don't want that, you just delete it, and now you're left with no audio. Okay, now if you want to cut in the middle, you take your cursor to the point that you want to cut it, and you place it there, and you highlight the clip, and you press B for blade, and you cut it at the point that you want it. Now A is for, generally speaking, A is to highlight. If your software has something different, then that can be there, but generally A tends to highlight things. You can also highlight by clicking on the clip, and the whole clip gets highlighted. So I'm using shortcuts because I really like shortcuts. The way to learn shortcuts is go to help. In every software, in every editing software, there will be a help button, and there will be a keyboard shortcuts list. So how I learned editing in the beginning was I went on each software and I clicked on help, and I clicked on keyboard shortcuts, and where are your keyboard shortcuts? Okay, see keyboard shortcuts. So this will have all your shortcuts for what makes your workflow a little faster. Now, generally speaking, most digital softwares make it easy. They make cutting and pasting much more easier. They have icons like this that you can cut and paste like this on here, or you can select, you can trim, you can position, you can use the blade. See, now this shows blade, but it's also telling you the shortcut of B. Z is zoom, H is hand. Hand is for like when you want to move within the timeline, but you don't want to click on any of the windows. So A is a shortcut to select. Okay, so generally I keep going between A, P and B. So P is for position, and A is for select, P is for position, and B is for blade. These are the three things that I do for every single edit. Like I play with those mostly. Control V and Control C are again copy and paste. So if, for example, you select this, see right now my tool is on blade. So if I select A, it goes into select position. If I click on this and I say control Z, it removes it. And I say, oh no, I don't want to remove it. Control Z. Sorry. Oh, I did control undo, sorry. So if I want to control X, sorry. So control X is to cut, control V is to paste. And you can also select the clip that you don't want and delete it. And that's how you delete the clip. Okay, so let's start the first edit. I'm not gonna edit on this because this is a test. I'm gonna open a already made library that I had made. I haven't started editing that there, but you open a file and you say new project and you go to library. Okay, in that again, I've been prompted. You go to Trip Metpally LiveWorks project. So now I've chosen the location of where I'd like my project to be saved. Now I would like this library to be called Trip to Metpally, right? So I save it. Now my library is called Trip to Metpally. I have to import media. So again, I will import from the Trip to Metpally raw iPhone. So here is all the video files. So I'm going to highlight everything. I'm not going to highlight this window, and I'm just going to import selected. I'm going to say copy to library. I'm just going to leave them in their place because there's no need to have double files. So import selected. Okay, now all the files have now come into this window. Okay, and you can see this is the display of all these files. Okay, now I want to open a new project. Again, I have to see this is the format that I'd like it. I would like to use automatic settings because I'm working with slow motion in this. So I will call it Trip to Metpally, right? Save. Now this timeline, if you see, has been saved here. This is an empty timeline here, and we are going to now drag and drop a couple of clips. So I like this greenery sequence, so I will drag and drop this into the timeline. I like this sequence, so the well, so I'll drag that. I like this, the green, I'll drag that. So every clip that you want, you're just dragging. As you can see, I'm not marking in and out because right now I'm just playing with the footage. I don't have any main agenda with this footage. I just want to do a montage, which is a basic edit. So now I shot a few sequences in slow motion, so I'd like to check those things out. So as I'm putting the file in, the timeline is getting full. So control minus and control plus to zoom in and zoom out to your timeline. Okay, so I'm doing control plus, and now again you can scroll down. So I've got all this footage onto my timeline. All right, now what I want is some music. So I'm going to go into import media. I'm going to go into again the main folder, LiveWorks music. Now I don't have any music here, so now I have to get the music there. So I close it, minimize the window. So now generally speaking, if I was doing a proper project, I would have already put the music that I wanted. Given that it's not there right now, I'm going to put whatever track I have in hand. So I have to save it in this folder. I'll just save it here. So I'm dragging and dropping a track that I had already, but remember I'm dragging and dropping it into the same window, so it's everything is in one place. In this file, in this folder, LiveWorks, export music project, raw footage. Okay, So now music has come into this folder. Now I'm not dragging it from here to there. I'm going again through this and importing trip to Metpally, the folder. I'm clicking on live works, going into music, clicking on this and import all. Alright, so now the music has come into my timeline. Okay, so this is all my footage including music. Now music, generally if you see in an edit, it will come in waveforms like wish, 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 wish. So that's how you know that's a music file. Now I just dragged and dropped it under the video that I have. Now I have not cut it, I've not edited it, I've just dragged and dropped, so I can edit it to music. So let's start. I'm starting from the beginning and I'm playing. So now this footage is very shaky, so I would probably not want to use this footage. This is a little better. So now I'm pressing J to go backwards to the point that's less scary. J and L is, J goes backwards fast, L goes frontwards fast. So these are again shortcuts that I use. Now my cursor is to the point that I want to edit. I press B and I cut. Okay, and then I press A and I can delete it, but as you can see, this audio is attached to this file, so I have to be careful and not delete the audio file as well. So I'm moving the audio file a little down, deleting this main file. So you just move the files according to where you want. Okay, now according to the beat, that's all I want that file for. I do zoom, it's control plus or control minus, again B, get slice the point that you want, A, and remove this. Now as you can see, I removed the whole audio file, so I don't want that, so control Z, and I'll have to remove this in a way that doesn't affect my edit. So for now I'm going to just moving my audio file again, and I'm cutting this, and then I'm moving my audio file. So sometimes you have to be slow and careful about what you're doing. Okay, another way to edit is to get the end of the file and scrub it to the point that you'd like to edit it. Okay, so that's there. So now a lot of this stuff I shot was shot in 60 frames, so that's really many frames. So what I'm doing here now is I'm clicking on the clip and I'm going here and I'm slowing the frame down to 50%. So I'm hoping that this will make the frame a little more smoother. Let's see if that works. So now as you see, the frame gets smooth only when the tree shot starts. So from the point that the shake stops, I'm putting my cursor there, I'm putting B and I'm cutting that part, A, and I'm selecting the file that I don't want and I'm deleting it. Okay, now again in the initial part your music will go for a toss, so remember to consciously bring it back to the entry point. Okay, it's a nice shot. B, cut. Let me skim through the shots that I want. Now there's some nice shots of some leaves, so I'm gonna put my cursor to the point where the leaves are in focus, as you can see, the main cursor is here, but I have moved my blade to this point. I click on that point, and now I have successfully cut that. Now another way to remove footage is overwrite it. So put A, or P generally changes the position, and you drag your clip over the shot that you want to delete. Okay, and now that shot has been deleted and this new shot has come. Okay, that's all I want. B, cut that point. A, select, delete. Delete the space. Remember, no spaces are good for your edit. So I don't know if you saw how fast that was, but that was a bird flying. So because I shot it in 60 frames, again I'm selecting my clip, I'm going here and I'm slowing it down 50%. So now I was able to capture the bird flying and it's visible to the eye. But I've dragged, what's the word? I've trimmed the end of this file to the edit point that I'd like. So there are many ways to cut the footage and change the footage. One is the blade way, one is trim literally and manually when you pull it out and move it to the point of your cursor. Normally apps will snap it back to the point of where your cursor is. So now all these files are very nice, but I really want to experiment with one slow motion file that I had shot, which is this. Now since I shot it in, I have just detached the audio. So I'm walking too fast. Click on the clip, right click, detach the audio and select it and delete it. Now I have shot this in slow motion. So let's see if it shows on the edit. This is the raw footage, so it doesn't look very great. Now, since I shot this all in slow motion, it's not coming here. So what I will do then is slow motion it 50% and see how it looks. Okay. Maybe I can slow motion a little more. Now I've slowed it down 25%. And since I shot it in slow motion, it's looking very smooth. So now again B, I'm cutting it to the point after the shake, slicing that part, and I'm selecting the front clip and I'm deleting that part because I don't need that. So let's see, after the bird flies, I go straight to the well, but there's still a shake. So I will go to the front of the clip and trim it to the point of the edit, hopefully to remove the shake. Okay. So now this is pretty smooth, so let me cut to this point. I'm using the blade, selecting the clip before, and I'm deleting it again, and I'm shortening that. Play for since I'm cutting it to the beat, this is where the beat finishes. So again B, cut to a different object. This is nice. Some hay. B, space to stop, A to select, delete. So now I've gone from the bird to the well to the hay okay. Now that's a nice sequence of the hay. I did take a nice sequence of some plants. I'm going to go to the point where the plants got in focus, because I remember when I was shooting it, the plants were out of focus, and then I got one point where the plants were in focus. So now, as you can see, I've gone from this cursor all the way here. My blade is on, B is clicked, cut, and then I press A to deselect the blade and put select the clip and delete. So now I've gone from the hay straight to the plant. Now I don't want to shoot the part where I'm moving out. So until the point that I stop, or the camera stops in the bottom, I want to keep it to that. Now the main cursor is here, but I would like to cut a little before that. So my blade is going to come where the red line is. B, blade, cut. Okay. Now I'm scrolling to any interesting parts that I can think of. Okay. Again, so for now, I'm cutting the audio also, like deleting. So now we've got like a 58-second clip. Okay. That's it. So I'm Control plus zooming to the point where I want to end it. I'm trimming the cut to the point where the music ends, trimming the video also to the point the music ends. Now because the dots is, again Control I to zoom into the clip. This is my edit now. Now if I want to put text, I can go to T. Look out for T. Sometimes people have T's here, sometimes they have T's here, sometimes they have T's here. So look out for T. T will give you text. Then you'll have an array of ways you can fit the text. I'd like a fade in, fade out text. Drag and drop it above your video, because you'd like the text to come above your video. Okay, and if you want the whole text to come in the full video, then that's there. Or if you want it just in the beginning and in the end, then you put it in the beginning and then in the end. I'm doing Control copy, Control paste. In Apple it would be Command. So now, as you can see, some title has come. In that title it will prompt me trip to Met Bali. Okay, so now that has come here. Oh, sorry, wrong file. Okay, so this file has come now. So I kept it a little simple. Of course, as you start editing, you can make it more advanced. Okay, and that's your beginning. Okay. Now you see these lines, it's rendering. So what you do is, since I finished it, I've put my titles, I've put my titles in the beginning, I've made a middle, I've made an end. So now this looks like a nice 58-second video. I just want to render it. So you wait for the computer to render, or you select all and you go to the render button on in your software. Okay. Now editing takes a lot of patience. You have to sit and wait for things to render. Sometimes you can go and have your meal or go and do something while the computer is rendering, but we have to be patient with the computer. So give that little time. Like for a 58-second rendering, it's still taking quite a lot of time. Once the rendering is, as you can see, the small button, that's showing you that the rendering is going on. Now once that rendering is done, you go to this button here. It looks like the share button, and you click on that, and then you choose the file that you'd like to export to. Now right now I'm not going to export because it's still rendering, but once that's done, then you remember to save, because not all computers save automatically. So Control S. If you have a Mac, then it'll automatically save it. If you have a PC, you need to literally save your files. Okay, it's almost done. As you can see, it's almost done, almost done, almost done, almost done. Last clip, last clip. So you have a choice whether you want to cut to the music or cut against the music. Generally speaking, I like cutting to the music because I like montage style of editing. But again, it is up to your creativity and your like understanding of what you'd like to do. So now rendering is almost over. As you can see, there's just a little bit left. Once you're done with that, feel happy, because rendering does take a long time. Okay. Now that's done. Okay. Now go to the share button in the corner, and that will prompt you different types of sharing. So you can choose whether you want to share it straight on YouTube. I would not recommend that, because sometimes it, if your internet connection fluctuates, then it may not save and all that. So I would always choose a file save. So now this was shot in 1080p, not 4K. But if you're doing a 4K video, you save it as a 4K video. If you're doing it 720, you save it as 720. I've done it in 1080p, so I'm clicking on 1080p. Once you click on that, a window will pop up, and you will be asked to name your project. So now I named my project already, Trip to Medpally. Description you can write. This video is about trip thing. You can change your name. So my name is Sangeetaangela. So I'm writing my name. Now here is settings. Now here you can play around a little bit. You can make it like web hosting, which takes a little more. You can do better quality. Now that's also nice. Right now I'm doing faster encoding, and I'm doing like a low res version, because this is just to show you. And I'm saying next. So now again, this will prompt you where to save it. Now this is where you go to final export. Okay. So now this is very interesting, because I was at masterclass, yesterday's edit. I don't want to be in the masterclass edit. I want to be in the Medpally edit, right? So I have to go to the Medpally edit, go to LiveWorks, and click on export. Now you can see there's no export here. So it's very important for you to keep all the files in the same place. Be very conscious of doing that. Okay, now you save it to the folder. Now the reason now it's saving, so I'll talk about this. The reason we do this is because if right now you're doing this for yourself, so it's okay if footage is here and there, but what happens is the more organized you are with your footage, the faster your workflow becomes, and the easier it is to navigate where it is. If you have all the files in one place, then it becomes easy to access it. If one video file is there, one music file is there, it gets very confusing for you. So it's very important to have one one folder with different elements of your folder. So now as this is exporting, there was no hitch, there was no hiccup, there was no problem, because everything was in one place. If I go to reveal in Finder, I'll have everything in the same trip to Medpally folder. Every single thing, live works, export, project, your raw footage, everything is there. And if you want to see other stuff like the masterclass edit, again similarly has live works, so it has the final export, it has graphic files, it has the music, it has my project, my main project, it has sound effects. So I used, this was the sound effect I used, so that's the sound effect file. Raw has all the different types of so I did some stories, story videos, screen recordings, old class shots, iPhone, D810, audio. So audio I haven't done anything yet. Screen recordings I've done, and as I'm talking, I'm also recording something here. So all that will be there. Like right now I'm shooting from the iPhone here. This is the iPhone, so that footage will come in this folder. So then what happens is, when I'm importing the footage, I know where the footage is and what it is. So it just keeps things more clear and makes things more neater. So that is it, and it's almost exported. So once it's exported, the file will automatically play or open in some app that you've chosen. I don't want it to play like that. Now you can just close your file, quit your program, go to the place that your file was, and in this case it was trip to Medpally, it was live works, export, and the file is there. Okay. This is the final project. This is the end title. It's come, and that's it. That's your file. It's ready, and this is your folder. Okay. The activity for today is you need to edit. Now get that film that you shot and import it, whether you're shooting it or whether you're importing it on a PC, on a Mac, or on your phone. Import it and edit. Edit from scratch. Use the rules from the book. Use the tips from the book. Your edit has to be 1 minute long, and it has to have a music track, maybe a beginning, middle, end in terms of titles. There is no need for color correction here or LUTs, but put down the visuals into an edit timeline and add music to it. Thanks for watching. You're almost done with your YouTube course. I hope you've learned a lot. I will catch you in day 5 in the next video. Till then, you can, go back and look at the older videos. The links are below, right there. And I hope you enjoyed this as much as I have enjoyed creating it for you.